Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this Pinterest inspired front tie scrunchy dress. That's what I decided to call it. So for those who would like the written pattern, it's already available on all my online shops, and we already have a detailed video of the top part, but for this video we're starting right from the beginning, and this dress is multicolored with a ruffle at the base, as you can see here. And then we are using multiple colors just randomly placed in order to achieve this beautiful look. And then it's made of the half double crochet mesh stitch, as you can see here. So for the materials, you will need several yarn. I am using merino double knit, and I used different colors as I went on, and I made like two rows or 4 rows or 3 rows, just randomly placing, as I'll show you as we go on in the video. And yeah, let's get started. We are starting with the top part, and then later on we shall transform it into a dress. So the yarn that I'll be using is double knit merino yarn, and this yarn recommends a 3.25 to a 4mm crochet hook as indicated here. Each ball of yarn is about 300 meters, and then the hook that I'll be using is a 4mm crochet hook, and then a pair of scissors is needed to cut off your loose ends, because there's going to be a lot of cutting and joining and all that going on, so you need a pair of scissors at hand. And then you'll also need a darning needle to weave in your ends, and lastly you will need a measuring tape. This measuring tape will take the measurement around your full bust as well as your under bust, the rib cage measurement. Both those measurements are needed, so I'll be leaving some images on the screen for you to figure out how to take your measurement. So this project is going to be made to measure. We're going to start off with a slip knot. Just twist your yarn like this, like a ribbon. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through. And then you're going to pull on the tail. And that's our slip knot. We're going to start off with a chain that is 1/4 of your full bust measurement. So get your full bust measurement, divide it by 4, and make a chain that is 1/4 of your full bust measurement. The number of chains should be an even number. So for me, I'm going to do a total of 32 chains, and this is for a size small, extra small to small. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we have our 32 chains. I will recommend the number of chains to do for the different sizes, but this is not gospel truth. Make sure you feel free to alter this design depending on the fitting that you're going for. So I have made 32 chains here. And now you can do a total of 34 or 36 or 40, depending on the measurements that you've got. So I have made 32 chains, and I'm going to make a total of 2 more chains, like that. And we're going to go into the 4th chain from the hook with a half double crochet. So counting from this one, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th chain, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all. So this will create our very first mesh space. And from here, you're going to make a chain of 1 and skip 1 chain and go into the next chain with 1 half double crochet. So remember, the terms used for this pattern are US terms. So chain 1, yarn over, prepare for half double crochet, and skip 1 chain and half double crochet into the next chain. So that's all that we have to do for this row. I'm going to repeat this all the way across until I have a total of 2 chains left, and I'll meet you back and show you what to do next. Alright guys, now I have a total of 2 chains left, as you can see, and you'll just do the same exact thing. Chain 1 and then prepare for a half double crochet and go into the very last chain after skipping the second last one. So go into the last chain with 1 half double crochet. This is what you should have. Now let's count the number of spaces that I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 mesh spaces. So let's go on to row 2. Row 2, you're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work, and then you're going to go into the very first space, the first chain space. We are not going into the stitches, we're going into the spaces, and we're going to place 1 half double crochet there, and then chain 1, 1 half double crochet into the next space, chain 1, 1 half double crochet into the next chain space, and we're going to repeat this all the way across. Alright, so we have 2 spaces left. Remember, we have this one at the beginning and then this one. So chain 1, 1 half double crochet into the next space, and chain 1, 1 half double crochet into the last chain space. Just like that. And this should bring you to the same number of chain spaces or mesh spaces as what we had for row 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 mesh spaces for row 2. So we're going to keep repeating row 2 until you have a certain number of rows. I'll be mentioning how many rows that I'll have done for my size, and I'll also be recommending what to do for the different sizes, the number of rows to do for the different sizes, and then we shall see how to pick it up from there. This is the first panel of the top, and I'll be showing you how to move on from this point onwards when we finish the very first panel. So just go ahead building onto your mesh stitch, and I'll meet you back after this. Okay guys, so I went ahead to do a total of 16 rows, as you can see here, 16 rows of mesh, and this is for the extra small size. So you're going to go ahead and do the same identical piece, as you can see here, so that you have 2 pieces. Now, before you cut your yarn on the second, you can see here, it's still attached to the yarn. I don't know if I still want this. Go ahead and cut your yarn on one of the panels. Just chain 1 and cut your yarn on one of the panels. Now this one is still attached to the yarn ball, and what we are going to do is to divide the number of boxes. Remember, we have a total of 16, or whatever number that you have for your size. You're going to divide the number of boxes by 2 on the panel here. So I have 16 boxes, and this time I want to make a total of 8. So you're going to make a chain of 3, just like we've been doing before, and then half double crochet into the first space. That's one box here, chain 1, 2 boxes, chain 1, 3 boxes. We're still creating the mesh pattern. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And the moment you have your 8 boxes, as you can see here, we've made it all the way halfway the panel. Now we have we are going to make a chain that connects onto the next panel here. So place your work like this so that the tail is on the inside, and you're going to make a chain the same as the starting chain of our panel. So you're going to make a chain of 32 without the extra 2 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So once you have the same number of chains as the ones you started with without the extra 2 chains, you're going to skip over 8 spaces here on this second panel. So prepare for a half double crochet and skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And into the 9th, you're going to place a half double crochet. Like that. This is what you should have for your panel. Now, you're going to continue to create the mesh pattern. Chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1, half double, chain 1, half double. We're working the half double crochets in the chain spaces, don't forget that. And we're going to just go ahead until the end. So I've ended my row with 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I think I made a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure you have 8 spaces. That means I had to attach in the box before. So I had to attach my yarn in the box before, the one where I attached. Chain 1, half double, chain 1, half double. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that means I've skipped a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 boxes here. So what next? We are going to do something different. We are going to take a measurement. I don't know where I placed my measuring tape. Okay guys, so we're going to take a measurement of this panel when stretched. So we have a total of 18 inches. We have a total of 18 inches when we stretch this panel at the base. But then we don't want to fully stretch it because we want these to still meet, but we don't want a loose fitting. So just slightly stretch and see what you get. Slightly stretch. I think I'll go with 17 inches. I think this will be a comfortable fit. So 17 inches. Measure, take a measurement around your rib cage. And mine is 29 inches. So 17 inches here, and the rib cage is 28 to 29 inches. That is my rib cage measurement. So whatever your rib cage measurement is, you're going to get a calculator and you are going to put 28 or 29, okay. Let me go on the bigger end. Minus the 17 inches that you've got after stretching your panel. Will give you 12 inches. Now 12 inches, subtract 4 inches so that we get some space for lacing up. That is 8 inches. And divide this number by 2, which is 4 inches. That means we are going to increase 4 inches on each end of the panel so that we get the measurement that we want around our rib cage. So what we are going to do is make a chain that is 4 inches on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. 16. Now we have our 4 inches, as you can see here, with our 16 chains. But then we are going to make sure this number is an even number. Chain 1 more and half double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. So count from here, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th you're going to place 1 half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 chain, half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 chain, half double crochet, chain 1, and repeat this all the way across. Alright, so now I have only 1 chain left to this space. I'm going to chain 1, skip over that chain, and half double crochet into the space. Now we've turned our work onto this side. You're going to just continue to chain 1, half double crochet into the space until you get to the very last space. Right now your work may look weird because we haven't yet attached the 2 upper panels, but it will come together later on. So the moment you're done with this, make sure your work is not twisted. Now we are going to go onto the chain that we created in the middle. So you're going to skip 1 chain and into the next half double crochet. Sorry, after chaining 1, of course, because we are maintaining the mesh pattern. Alright, let's go ahead, chain 1, skip 1 chain, half double crochet into the next, and repeat that all the way across the chain. So you're going to create the mesh pattern until you have only 1 chain left here. And after that, you're going to chain 1 and go into the very first space. Skip over the chain and go into the space with 1 half double. Chain 1, half double into the next space, chain 1. Now we've gone back to the original pattern. So I've placed my last half double crochet into the last space here, but remember we had to create an extension here. So you're going to get a strand of yarn. You're going to get a strand of yarn and you're going to attach it. Just drop this loop and go into the row below, into the second chain. Remember, it's a chain of 3, so go into that middle chain and attach your yarn. And now you're going to count the number of spaces that we created on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So multiply that by 2. So that means we are going to make a chain of 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So just drop the yarn there. In case of any excess, we shall just cut it off or reduce the chain. So come back to the body of the top and chain 1, skip 1 chain, and half double into the next. Chain 1, skip 1 chain, half double into the next chain. Chain 1, skip 1 chain, and half double. So those are 4 spaces. 5, 6, 7 and 8. So as I had said before, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, sorry, this is the 8th, so now I know exactly how many chains I needed. So I'm placing my very last half double crochet into the last chain. I had to do a total of 16 chains on this side to get a total of 8 spaces. So this is what we have. Now we're going to go back to the original pattern. Just chain 3, turn your work, and half double crochet into the spaces, and make sure each half double crochet is separated by a chain 1 space. So this is the coverage for our rib cage, and you're going to just keep working this back and forth until we have enough body for our rib cage coverage, until we get to the waistline. I'm going to just keep repeating this until I get to the waistline, and I'll come back and show you what to do next, because from that point we shall be creating the coverage for the hips and shaping the actual dress. Alright guys, this is the progress of the dress. I've done so far a total of 10 rows right from this part. I have a total of 10 rows, and I am going to just make a simple chain of about 120 chains, and I'm going to weave it through this piece so that the dress can start coming together. So what you're going to do is to go in and out of every mesh space, or each and every row, and just do this. Or you can use a darning needle. Just go in and out of each and every row on the edge. In, out, in, out, in, out. You can see that this is gathering this part together like that. Now you're going to go onto the opposite side and do the same. In and out of every row. And this is what you'll create. Now at this point you're going to just gather this up and make a knot, and you can see how everything is now coming together. Just make a knot here like that, and you can go ahead and cut off these extra strands on your chain. This is what we have now. Now you're going to continue with your mesh pattern for as long as you want your top to be. For me, 10 rows are just enough. Now after this, you're going to just chain 1, cut your yarn, and then we're going to make straps for our top. You're going to just attach your yarn in any of the corners. So I'll go into this first corner here, and I'll attach my yarn there, make a single crochet into the space, and make a very long chain of about 200. Alright, so now that we know how to make the top, we are now going to transform the top into a dress by going all the way down. Now I'll be switching colors because this is the upper color that I decided to go with for my dress, and this is yellow, but it has the same exact instructions as the green one that you've seen at the beginning of the video. Alright, so after getting the length that you need for your band to get to your waistline, you're going to take a measurement at the base of your top because it's still a top at this point. Stretch it out and get that measurement. Mine can stretch up to about 26 inches. So the difference between 26 and the hip measurement, which is 40, is going to be a total of 14 inches. So I'm going to make a chain of 14 inches and then join it to this side. All right. So we want a total of 14 inches and we are still at 12, as you can see here, 12 inches. So I did a total of 50 chains and I want to just cross check to see if it can make it to my 14 inches when stretched. So this is perfectly fine, but it goes to about 15 inches. So I'll take off 5 chains maybe. I want exactly 14 inches when stretched. So this will be perfectly fine, as you can see here. So I've done a total of 45 chains across, and I will slip stitch. Make sure your chain is not twisted. And you're going to slip stitch on the other end of the dress. Just like that. So we have this opening going on here. So what we are going to do is make a chain of 3, and that counts as our very first half double crochet plus 1 chain. So turn your work and you're going to work across this chain that we just created. So skip 1 chain and then half double crochet into the next. Just like that, chain 1, skip 1 chain and half double crochet into the next. And repeat that all the way across. So keep doing this until you come to the end of the chain. All right, so I'm placing a half double crochet here into the last chain here before I join onto the body of the top. So we have this going on, and then we are going to just chain one and cross over into the mesh pattern that we already have. So go into the chain one spaces, chain one half double crochet into the next chain one space, and do that all the way around. So make sure your oar is working in the opposite direction of the previous row all round. So that means we turn at the end of each and every row all round, so that our oar is working in the opposite direction of the previous row. All right, so we're coming to the end, and I am placing my last half double crochet into the last chain one space of the previous round, and make sure this part is not twisted at all. And after this, you're going to make a chain of one and slip stitch into the second chain of the first chain three of the round. So into the second chain, you're going to place a slip stitch there. So this is what you should have. After your chain of one, you actually, hold on, this chain three came from this space, as you can see here. So after your chain of one here, you're going to slip stitch into the second chain of the first chain three of the round, and you're going to have something that looks like this. So from here, you're going to make a chain of one, turn your work, I don't want to slip stitch into the spaces, so after the slip stitch, you're going to turn your work like this, and then slip stitch into this very first chain one space, so that you come to the middle of the space, and then you're going to make a chain of three, which counts as a half double crochet chain one here, and then half double crochet in each and every chain one space, and separating each half double crochet with a chain one. And this is going to be the repeat of each and every round until we get the length of the dress that we want. So there's a few things that I need you to note when you're working this pattern. You're going to get your measuring tape and make sure this can stretch to half your hip measurement. If it doesn't, then that means this won't fit you. If you stretch it out like this, you should get half your hip measurement. As you can see, mine can go up to 20, and the hip measurement that I'm considering for this dress is 40. So at this point, if you get half your hip measurement when you stretch out, because you are considering 2 sides of the dress, so times 2 will be 40. So if you get that measurement right, you're going to just keep pushing and growing your dress until the length that you want. So as I had told you earlier on, just work the mesh pattern until the very last chain 1 space, and then from there you will chain 1 and slip stitch into the second chain of the first chain 3 of the round. All right, so we're coming to the end of the round, and as I had mentioned earlier on, when you place a half double crochet in the last chain 1 space, you will chain 1 and then slip stitch into the second chain of the first chain 3 of the round to wind up your round, just like that. And then you turn your work. When you turn your work, you slip stitch once into the very first chain 1 space, like that, and then make a chain of 3, and then continue with the pattern. So that's what you're supposed to do. But for me, I am switching colors. So when you come to the end of the round, you will slip stitch into the second chain of the first chain 3 of the round. Of course, after chaining 1, slip stitch into the second chain of the first chain 3 of the round, and then you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn. Now we are going on to our next color. Mine will be green. I will attach it close to the tail that I've left behind, and making sure that I'm working in the opposite direction of the previous round. So I'm going to attach it in this space right after the tail, and then I'm going to make my chain of 3, which counts as a half double crochet chain 1, and then we start our mesh pattern. So you will see me switching between a 1 strand and then a 2 strand. That's because some of the brands that I'm using for this design are thicker than the others. So for the yellow, the yarn was very thin. I had to double the strand. But for the green, the yarn is thick enough, so I had to use 1 strand. So you're going to switch colors to your liking, depending on the thickness of the color that you want. You can do 2 rows or 3 rows, and then I'll meet you back when my dress has grown to create enough coverage. So we have a total of 40 rows. From the top, we are excluding the very first color. So since we started switching colors, we have a total of 40 rounds altogether. And now we're going to do something different so that we create some sort of room for this dress to get off the body. Some sort of like little flare, but not in the form of ruffles. So you're going to get your next color. For me, that is peach, and I followed a specific color combination. So if you're just placing random colors, just get your next color and attach it in any of the chain 1 spaces. Just attach there, and we're going to start creating the mesh pattern still, but this time we are creating some sort of like room for flare. So you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as our very first half double crochet, and then half double crochet into the next space. And from here you're going to chain 1, and into the next space you're going to place 1 half double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more half double crochet, just like that. So you can see 2 half double crochets into the same space. Then chain 1, 1 half double crochet into the next, chain 1, 1 half double crochet into the next, and then we are going to create our next increase. So chain 1, 1 half double crochet, chain 1, 1 more half double crochet into the same space. So if you can notice, after 2 you create an increase, after the next 2 you create an increase into the next space. So you're going to go all the way around doing this. All right, so we're almost making it around, and I'm just placing one, chain 1, and then when you come to the end, you will just make a slip stitch into the second chain of the first chain 3 of the round, after chaining 1, of course. So you have something like this, and you may not see the flare out right now. You'll see it later on when we work some more rounds. So I don't want it to be so dramatic, and I don't want it to be so small as well, in order not to show. I just want it to flare, go off the body, so that the dress is not so tight. So from here, you're going to make a you're going to turn your work, because I'm still using the same exact color. Slip stitch into the very first space, and then make a chain of 3, and this time we're just going to create a normal mesh round. We're not going to create any increases. So we've gone back to these rows or rounds that we were doing before without creating any increases. So when it comes to those spots where you increased from the previous round, you just go into that chain 1 space. For example, this is an increase from the previous round. You just chain 1 and go into that increase with 1 half double crochet, chain 1, and then go into the next chain 1 space with 1 half double. And you're going to repeat this all the way around until you come back to the beginning of your round. Alright, so after the round that is placed on top of the increase round, I am going to place my very last color, and that should be the main color at the top of the dress. So as you can see, I have a yellow here, and I will use yellow at the bottom of the dress as well. So I'm going to attach my next color. And you're going to repeat the same process as the increase round and then the non-increase round. So the increase round is chain 3, 1 half double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and then into the next chain 1 space you're going to place an increase. So 1 half double crochet, chain 1, 1 more half double crochet. So we're just trying to make the ruffles a little bit more visible. So chain 1, 1 half double crochet into the next, chain 1, 1 half double crochet into the next, and then it's time for an increase. So you chain 1 and then make an increase of 1 half double crochet, chain 1, 1 half double crochet into the same exact space. So just like we did for this round here, you're going to go all the way around doing that, and I'll meet you back at the end. All right, so we've made it all the way around the increase round of the yellow color, and then I'm going to chain 1 and slip stitch into the second chain of the first chain 3 of the round, and then turn my work, slip stitch into the first chain 1 space, just like that, and then make a chain of 3, which counts as our very first half double crochet chain 1. And this next round we are not going to increase, we are just going to go into each and every chain 1 space with a half double crochet, and making sure after 1 half double crochet you chain 1. So this is a non-increase round, so go all the way around and I'll meet you back here. Alright guys, so you can see the light ruffle at the base of the dress, and this is exactly the look that I was going for. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to make non-increase rounds, and I'll let you know how many rounds of the final color that I'll make, and then we shall see the final look. Alright guys, so we've done a total of 3 rounds for the very final color, and now we are going to create an edging for the base. This is going to be the very final round, and it's going to be a round of single crochets. So after your last stitch, the slip stitch into the chain 3, you're going to make sure you're on the right side of your work. Determine the right side of your work and make sure you're on the right side, because that's where we want to place our final round of single crochets. So we're going to make a chain of 1, and you're going to place 2 single crochets in each and every chain 1 space. So we are not going into the stitches, just the chain 1 spaces, and you're going to place 2 single crochets all the way around in every chain 1 space. And this is what you're going to have. This is going to help us wind up the round so that we can get a clean edge. So just go into each and every space with 2 single crochets, and I'll meet you back at this point. Alright, so after everything, you're going to turn your dress onto the back side, and you're going to lace up the back of the dress. So you're going to create an X at the back like this, and then you're going to push through the first row of mesh on this side, and then on this side as well, just like that. And then you go to the center of this part, skip a few rows here, and then attach into the next, like that, and then skip a few rows and attach into the next. Then from here you're going to pull something like this, and then you're going to grab your crochet hook, and you're going to, actually you can do it with your hands, just go in and out. Just mark the exact middle of the dress. Let me say this is the exact middle of my dress, and you're going to get this string and put it in and out of every space on the top row of the mesh, in and out of every space until you get to the middle part of the dress, just like that. And then you do the same on this side. Something like this. So when the 2 strings meet in the center of the dress, then you can pull and gather everything together. This is going to help us with the shaping of the dress. And then you can tie a knot at the back of the dress. And now let's see the final fitting of the dress.